With Kagurabachi releasing in September of 2023, a lot of people had no idea what to expect coming from the series. A lot of people expected it to be generic shonen trash, while others were memeing it as the herald of the new era of modern shonen jump. I will tell you right now, your boy has been supporting this series from day one. Go look at my credentials. Oh yeah, I ain't never switched on this series, not a day in my life. Go ask about me. But besides the magnificent fight choreography that is shown throughout the series and the art style that will lend itself to animation in a fantastic way, as we're seeing with beautiful fan animations that even the author himself is retweeting on Twitter, Kagurabachi has shown that it can absolutely change the game with one very important thing when it comes to stories, and that is its villains. So ladies and gentlemen, for today's video, I wanted to sit down and I wanted to break down what makes each Kagurabachi villain so far that we've seen so special and why they stick out so much. It's your boy Daffy. I'm a huge Kagurabachi glazer, and without further ado, let's go ahead, let's get right into the video. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe first. First villain I want to take a look at, chronologically speaking, is Sojo. Now Sojo himself, he is now in talks of one of the best first antagonists in shonen. I mean that completely unironically. This is not me just glazing the series. Sojo himself is now being compared to Zabuza from Naruto, and he was a fantastic antagonist on his own. His relationship with Hishaku, how he sees himself as this demon that's going to hell, and that he actually doesn't feel like he's worth any redemption, but he actually wanted a better life for Haku. We see none of these parallels exactly, but in terms of stage presence and design, Sojo has that, and Sojo has one of these very good things that I like when it comes to antagonists, and that is directly opposing the hero's ideals and mindset. While yes, you would think that from Sojo's design that he is just this brute and he's just psychotic with no intelligence, he's actually one of the smartest people in the Kagurabachi verse. I say smartest, but just from the amount of people that we have seen so far, he's actually extremely intelligent, and his research on the Detensky is still even being used now. And narratively, what Hokazono does with Sojo's character later on, which I'll be discussing here soon, makes Sojo stick out so much. It's funny actually, because you can tell that Hokazono actually loves drawing Sojo. He's actually one of his favorite characters. One of the bonus chapters that we just got recently was of Sojo's bath before he went to go get Cloud Gouger. Dude, I can smell the Toji stands about to flock to this man when the anime drops. I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for it. Most overrated motherfucker in anime history, man. I don't get it. I don't know what y'all seeing now. Homeless. Boom! We're not gonna pay child support. Am I not gonna take care of the picnic? Them like, what do y'all see in him? Huh? When we officially have Sojo's introduction in chapter 5 of Kagurabachi, we get one of these really cool shots where he is coming out of the water with these tattoos, obviously coming to the stage presence, and we know he's about that business, and we understand that he's Genichi Sojo, one of the big arms dealers in the underground. I want you all to take a look at his tattoos real quick. Does that look like a butterfly to you? And actually, if we look at his latest bonus chapter, that sure looks like a centipede around his neck, huh? I wonder who has a motif of insects and centipedes and all that. Who also has Sojo's scraggly hair and presumably has something to do with the flowers in Sojo's flashback that he saw. You know what? Hey, I could be mistaken. Excuse me. Yes, Sojo is totally related to this nigga, bro. Anyway, when it comes to Sojo, one of the first interactions he actually has with our hero is after he comes out of this alley and he gets this momentary flashback where he himself as a child surrounded by all these flowers and seeing all these dead corpses. We still have no idea what this means now, and I'm so glad that Hokazono seeded this for later use, because now it gives us theory crafters some ammunition to work with when it comes to his relation to the Shinichi wielder. But Sojo has to have one of the coldest entrances to fighting the main character I've seen in a minute. Sojo literally, after killing this dude in a dark alley, goes in the middle of the street with Cloud Gouger in his hand. He goes over to the Cafe Haru Haru shop, opens the door, and just immediately rushes to Chihiro. I mean, it is so quick. It's almost like that scene in Chainsaw Man where they're all sitting in a cafe and the Katana Man starts busting at everybody. It's smoke immediately, and I love it. And so as he's engaging with his fight with Chihiro, he says something that disturbs Chihiro. It initially throws him off. When he thinks about it, it disgusts him. At one point, Sojo says, "I truly love Kunishige Rokuhira." Now, obviously, Chihiro is Kunishige's son, so he's going to take some offense to this. And Sojo explains that, yeah, this dude Kunishige, he made some bomb-ass weapons for slaughter. You can't beat stuff like this. Sojo is enamored with the Enchanted Blades because of the destruction that they can cause, and he sees everything almost like an experiment, not in the sense of Mayuri from Bleach, but just see how much destruction and death he can cause. Now, will this be his own innate nature or how he was formed from his experiences? We don't know. We have yet to see Sojo's background. I think we will once we get the Seitei War flashback, because if the math adds up, Sojo will be around 12 to 10 years old when the Seitei War was happening, since it occurred 18 years ago, and he was now 30 in the main story. And Sojo and Chihiro's first fight is fucking awesome, man. I mean, the amount of speed that is conveyed with Chihiro's movements each and every single page, beautiful. I absolutely love it. And we have this magnificent shot where Chihiro attempts to blitz Sojo, get behind him and cut his head off. And we actually see Sojo turn around and react, not even cloaked in Mei, but he literally was able to see Chihiro and almost cut his head off as well. So we already know, oh, this dude's a problem. He's about that. He's really like that. Sojo is such an easy, detestable villain to hate because of his interactions with Char. With Char, he sees her as an experiment. He sees her as a means to an end for all of his research with Detensky to try to harness these enchanted blades and to make something similar. Make these various weapons of mass destruction, but because of Char's blood and of her clan, she is actually able to regenerate, and she has special abilities that he wants to harness. So we can already hate this guy. He's got these overhaul from My Hero-like qualities. And I love that he's just not so one note. When it comes to the blades, Sojo is obsessed, but we even see with this past bonus chapter that he has a little soft spot for this old lady. It's not that he's super nice or anything like that, but he almost speaks to her in a way similar to Bakugo would from My Hero Academia, where he's very rash, he's very brazen with his manner of speech, but he even tells this old lady, hey, you don't have any milk in here, hey, you just got the wrong shampoo, this place is gonna close, you gotta fix this before you get shut down. It's the way he says things that's, I want to see more of Sojo. I do. And when we have Sojo and Chihiro simultaneously have their awakening with the Enchanted Blades, Sojo is facing up against the Kamunabi Cloud Gouger force. Dude, these anti-whatever forces in Kagurabachi, please keep that a running joke. These niggas are fodder each and every single time. I love it. Yes. I love the fact that Sojo was the person to issue Chihiro his first major defeat in the series. I've discussed this before, but there is this narrative going around that Chihiro has never lost or not ever had a real major L in Kagurabachi, which just in fact isn't true. During Sojo versus Chihiro round 1, Sojo would have killed Chihiro. The second that he was able to see Chihiro attempt to blitz him from behind and try to cut his head off, and he reacted, not even cloaked in Mei, that battle was over. And Chihiro had one more breath left while Sojo was unscathed. That battle was done. So it doesn't matter if Chihiro attempted to run away and try to get Char, he still lost at the end of that day. Now Sojo versus Chihiro round 2, ooh, this that good shit I like, man. Bro, editor, whoever gets to edit this, bro, please put a clip of that fan animation that people got working for Chihiro versus Sojo round 2. Oh my good God, please give them credit. They did an absolutely killer job on this. Bro, these niggas like Kagurabachi so bad, they didn't even wait for their own anime. Ooh. Oh my God, I'm so proud to be part of this fandom. Going back to Sojo's awakening with Cloud Gouger, it's very refreshing to see that the antagonist and the protagonist have their power-ups at the same time, but for different reasons. Typically, most of the time, it's just the protagonist, right? But then we actually have a bit of a point of view from Sojo when he's fighting the anti-Cloud Gouger forces, and he actually levels up with Mei, and he shoots right through a meteorite and crashes through Kazane as well as the other members. Now, Sojo himself is leveling up because he wants to harness the blades. He wants to understand more of them. He wants to get more intimate with Cloud Gouger, but Chihiro his back is against the wall. He's fighting to protect Char as well as his father's memory, so that's why he's fighting so hard. But they still leveled up in their own ways. And so we're actually, when we come to the beginning of Sojo versus Chihiro round 2 and the fight kicks off, we actually have this brief intermittence of Chihiro and Sojo sitting down and talking over, I believe it's takoyaki, I believe is how it's called. I'm not familiar with the exact pronunciation, but they are talking about this clash of ideals that they have. And Sojo believes that the message that he got from Kunishige is that these were weapons used to kill people, and that's how I'm going to use them. That's the message that I'm getting from them. Now Chihiro has battled with this idea that his father was just this great man. He did great things, and as anybody would. He's his dad. How would you not think about him like that? But then Chihiro comes to the idea that yes, these weapons are dangerous, and they actually carry this over to the next 2 arcs over, which I will get to briefly in a second. But Chihiro, at the end of his conversation with Sojo, comes to the realization, yes, these are blades that are meant to kill people. I can't sugarcoat this. My father's memory probably has some bad stuff in there. It doesn't matter, but I still need to do what I can to keep these safe from people who would use it to do evil, like Sojo. And obviously, once Chihiro wins his fight against Sojo, we actually see something very interesting. And it's almost like a Toji-like effect in Jujutsu Kaisen, like I've mentioned before. When talking with Hakuri about why it's so important that Chihiro gets these blades and what his mission is, he gets this brief jump scare of Sojo, and he imagines what power, what catastrophes could happen with these enchanted blades in the hands of the wrong person. That's why he can't stop. He can't afford to. I love how Sojo continues to haunt the narrative of Kagurabachi. It feels very fitting, and it really cements his status as Chihiro's first major L that he's ever taken in the series. It feels almost continuous. Moving on to Kiora. Kiora is a bit of an interesting case because when it comes to Chihiro, he doesn't have that personal connection that Chihiro has to Sojo. With Sojo, Sojo was enamored with Kunishige, but Kiora doesn't really care about Chihiro one way or the other. He just wants his blade and that's it. But it still relates back to Chihiro's father. With Hakuri, Chihiro sees the abuse that Hakuri has had and how it has shaped his mindset and how it affects him as a person. And so when he sees the toe and he sees how they're acting, Chihiro's actually disturbed by the fact that their own father was willing to sacrifice his own blood son for a broken door to trap his enemies and attempt to get a one-up on them. Chihiro doesn't understand this. He actually feels pity for the toe. He's like, you didn't have a chance to actually have a normal relationship. And again, we lead further into this idea that these blades, these are dangerous weapons. We can't let just anybody use these. But at the end of the Rokuhiras, Chihiro comes to the conclusion that yes, I can't let anybody just have these, but I can't do this alone. I need the right help. And that's why he actually attempts to join the Kamunabi, because Chihiro knows that the Kamunabi can implement seals on the Shinichi that he just doesn't have access to. They just can't do. He's overcoming his pride. It's not just me and my father's problem anymore. This is actually just the world's problem that we gotta stop with the Shinichi, as well as the other blades. I like that. And when it comes to Kiora, he's very prideful, he's very elegant, but even when he's getting caught by the Weekend at Bernie's special by the Shinichi wielder, he refuses to give in, and he actually stands firm on this mindset that yes, the Rokuhiras is his family tradition. Order must be kept. Even as shitty of a father as I was, even though I ruined my relationship with my wife, it all has to be worth it because the Rokuhiras. Kiora actually died believing that. This isn't like a traditional shonen story where the villain would see the error of their ways once they are dying or offer some sort of wisdom to the protagonist or anything like that. Kiora actually held his guns to the end, and actually when he died, he thought about his broken family and everything that he had done, but he actually still saw it as being all worth it. And actually, if it were not for Kiora being so boneheaded and set in his own ways, all of the hostages in the storehouse would have died. But since he actually refused to be controlled by the Shinichi wielder, it actually allowed Chihiro to save more lives because of it. Very interesting, very interesting. I mean, Chihiro outright tells Kiora, your biggest mistake is that you didn't believe in Hakuri. If Kiora had simply believed in his son and actually invested in this quote-unquote piece of property that he was trying to cultivate and raise, he would have been way better off. He would have had access to one of the geniuses of the Sazanami clan, but he was too blind, and he only saw what was immediately in front of him. He only saw Soya and his other sons. He didn't think that Hakuri was strong enough, and that's ultimately where he failed. Now, let's talk about Yuta. Yuta is a very interesting case because as soon as he came on the scene, niggas was shook, bro. At the end of chapter 31, 32, when Chihiro was trying to go into this crowd of random fodder and attempt to just like absolutely demolish him, and there's this one guy who's like, oh, he's actually kind of giving Chihiro some hands, kind of giving him some work. He's kind of moving and dodging. What's going on? And then Chihiro looks and he sees that Hishaku symbol on his hand. I'm bouncing on Hokazono. I'm bouncing. I'm doing tricks on it. I love Yuta's design as well. He almost looks similar to a anime version of what Lucifer from the Bible would look like, especially with the suit, how he looks very suave, but you can just tell his eyes are almost dead inside, and you can tell he would tell you something exactly of what you would want to hear, but there's just something uncanny about him. And people actually had this theory that actually wasn't Yuta, that he's actually just controlling a course, but no, that's actually him, as far as we know. The fact that the main villain was just chilling and actually just waiting for the protagonist to show up and be like, hey man, I killed your dad. What are you gonna do about it? There's still more ammunition to theory craft, as Yuta says, oh, you're still too green to harvest yet. What am I gonna do with you? And so the running theory is that Yuta wants to see the potential of Enten as well as the other hidden blades before he permanently takes them and uses them for his own benefit. So we know that Enten can break at least one of the other enchanted blades. It was able to blade Crowd Gouger, wasn't able to break the Shinuchi. It wasn't strong enough for that, but the other ones, maybe, we don't know. But Yuta is very curious about this wild card that is Enten, and Chihiro is the key to all of this, as well as Samura. It's funny because Yuta doesn't seem to take himself very seriously. I mean, he even makes some jokes. He's seen on a playground on like a horsey ride, just talking about his nefarious plans out at like 3 p.m. on a Thursday. Like, dude doesn't give a fuck. But we still don't know what his ultimate goal and plans are. We know he wants to use the Shinuchi for himself to dominate Japan, but we don't know what he's gonna do after that. Is it just power? Is it just your typical, I want to take over the world? We don't know exactly. Maybe it has to do with the enemy that the Seitei War talks about. We don't really know. The people are invested in Yuta to see what he has as an antagonist, and actually how he actually is subtly manipulating Samura from the shadows. One of the latest antagonists of Kagurabachi is very interesting. Now, Samura is one of the enchanted blade wielders that Kunishige appointed. Samura, from the impression that we all got, he was this kind man. He was goofy. He seemed fun, but we knew he was a man of religious conviction. He even blinded himself at the sight of seeing someone dead at his own hands, as well as just prohibitions because of his own beliefs, such as things like pornography or gambling and things like that. So we know that Samura carried a ton of guilt from the Seitei War. So when we come to these latest chapters and we understand that, oh my god, Samura actually killed his own student in a plan to exterminate all of the other blade wielders, including himself, because of what happened in the war. So again, more theories. We want to know what happened in the war. What was so bad? Now, I will tell you that I'm betting money that there's going to be like a map that they're going to show on like the Kagurabachi like world map, and the Kabunabi headquarters or something like that, and they're going to look at like America, and it's just going to be a flower field. Bro, whoever this enemy was in the Seitei War, them niggas got low dipped. We have no idea who they were. So whatever these blade wielders did, they crunched them. There was not a trace left. So most likely there were civilians involved. There were some Geneva suggestions that were being, thrown to the wayside, but we just don't know. So why Samura as the traitor works is because we can't fault him entirely. Is his plan dumb? Is his plan full of his own ego? Yes, but it does make sense in a way. It's very easy to see how someone can come to this conclusion that, hey, nobody can have these things, and I mean nobody can have these blades. That even goes for me too. Samura doesn't see himself as a good person. He says, I'm going to hell anyway. I might as well do the right thing in his own eyes, which is why it works so well. I love Samura as an antagonist, man. I'm hoping with the next upcoming chapter, chapter 59, that we see what he says to Chihiro. I'm very curious to see what he says, man. Very curious, very curious. But yeah, that is going over Kagurabachi's villains. I think that Kagurabachi is doing a fantastic job with its villains. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Do you guys think that Kagurabachi is doing a fantastic job with its villains? Do you think it's doing a mid job with its villains? Do you guys think Kagurabachi sucks? If you think that, you suck. Anyway, guys, me boy Daffy, thank you guys so much for joining me on this video. Please, make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Don't make sure to take care of yourselves, guys, and have a damn good one. Peace.